All right, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We all know it's going to be an eventful offseason. The Steelers are going to have to make a number of big time decisions with a lot of positions, both sides of the football, quarterback being the most prominent. But the Steelers have recently made not one, but two really smart, kind of under the radar strategic decisions. Good moves by Pittsburgh. We'll break them down in just a second. But first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, without further ado, let's jump into these two new reports over the past few days that have highlighted a change in strategy in Pittsburgh and a smart strategy at that. Let's pull this first one up, courtesy of NBC Sports. Running back Najee Harris entered the league in 2021 as a first round pick of the Steelers, obviously. He's now heading towards free agency. Whether Steelers will re sign him remains to be seen. Their exclusive negotiating window is shrinking by the hour, and all reports are the Steelers will not re sign Harris. The Steelers could apply the franchise tag. No reports of that yet. Looks like they're going to let him hit the market. Under current estimates, it will likely be north of $13.5 million for 1 year, more than twice what the fifth-year option would have cost. So would they dare let him walk away 1 year post Saquon Barkley and post Derrick Henry and post Josh Jacobs? The difference is, frankly, that those three have proven to be a cut above the rest of the running backs in the game. Basically, long story short, there, the Steelers are going to let Najee Harris walk. And that leads us right into our second report there from SI.com talking about the other running back, Warren. Warren is a restricted free agent, which means the Steelers are likely to tender him as a right of first refusal that will cost them only $3.18 million in 2025, Duloc wrote, with the second round tender's valuation estimated at $5.217 million according to Over the Cap. Pittsburgh would save over $2 million by placing the rights of first refusal tag on Warren, which, based on what we're hearing through the grapevine and rumors right now, the Steelers seem incredibly likely and are probably going to do that with Warren. What we're seeing here is a strategic shift by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're not following what the zeitgeist is saying, what the momentum is, where everyone's got a big spend on the running backs. I think right now Pittsburgh is taking a long approach here and a smart approach, and give credit to Omar Khan and the Steelers front office for not taking the cheese with the running back position. I think it's a sign that more smart moves could come for Pittsburgh this offseason. Miles, I know you've got a few thoughts on this one, but first, Pittsburgh fans in the comment section below. Obviously, we're talking about Najee Harris, Warren, the running back position, but what's one other position, quarterback, let's put that aside, that you think Pittsburgh really needs to attack with reckless abandon this offseason, whether it's through trades, draft, free agency, all the above? Give us the one position group the Steelers need to go all in on. Want to hear from you guys. Put it in the comment section. But Mize, over to you now. What are your thoughts on this latest moves by Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Nick, like you said, kind of a change in the Pittsburgh Steelers' MO. Two really smart moves here. I think letting Najee Harris walk. On Najee Harris, like people talk about, oh, well, he's got like four back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He still has under 4 yards per carry the averages. He's a big back. He's supposed to get those tough yards, but that's about all he can do. He doesn't really have the burst. I don't think he is the next level, like the article said, like those other running backs do. So paying him doesn't seem like a smart move. So I think letting him walk, that seems like a really good option. Keep Jalen Warren, on the other hand, around. Let him be an option. And I think doing the right of first refusal deal here is a great thing too, because if someone wants to come out and like pay Jalen Warren a mint, you gotta let him do it. But at least at that point, if someone tries to give him a reasonable offer, you have the ability to go ahead and say, hey, I'm gonna match the offer. We'll just go ahead and bring him back anyways. And at best case scenario, you save yourself $2 million. I don't think Jalen Warren's going to be like super hot on the running back market with this draft. There's also a lot of running backs in the draft this year as well. But I just think overall, this seems like a really smart move by the Steelers. Two smart moves, in fact. And with all of the decisions ahead of them, they need to start knocking down these smart decisions, especially like running backs, what they're going to do receiver wise, all of the options on this team, because they got to figure out quarterback as well. And if they can get these things behind them in a smart way, I think there's going to be a lot more ease on the plate when they go to attack the quarterback position. So again, two smart moves by the Steelers, something a little bit out of the norm as we've seen a little bit lately, maybe a change showing their shift in the Steelers atmosphere. Again, I love these two things by Pittsburgh, and I think it's going to help them a lot this offseason.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to remember a time when the Pittsburgh Steelers let a first round pick walk, right? I just asked AI right now just to double check me, and they said the last time they can remember was actually, they say TJ Watt, but that's AI hallucinating. They just said that because they signed TJ Watt to a mega deal, of course. Basically, the Pittsburgh Steelers never let this happen, right? And that speaks to, I think, a good strategic shift we're seeing from the Pittsburgh Steelers front office. Because the Steelers, for too long, and we saw it with Matt Canada for a number of years, are just all about complacency. They say stability, but stability overextended is complacency. And that's what we saw from Pittsburgh this past season. And I think we're going to see some changes this offseason to that. Letting Najee Harris go, first round pick, 4,000-yard seasons, right, in a row. People would look at that and say, why wouldn't you re-sign him, right? He's done all the good things. He seems to be a halfway decent locker room guy, right? It's not like he's got Pickens' problems or anything like that. But the reality is, and no matter what happened last offseason, the running back position is not a position you want to give a massive deal to, right? Derrick Henry is special. Barkley is special, right? Najee Harris, like the report highlighted, is not at that level. Those two guys had phenomenal seasons, but they are the exception, not the rule. Gotta love Pittsburgh recognizing the rule there and staying away from the temptation. Everyone in the media is saying this is going to be a huge offseason for the running back position. Everyone's going to dole out lots of cash. Pittsburgh, Omar Khan, staying away from that siren song and just not going to not going to pay Najee Harris, let him test the market, doing a solid job with Warren, what they're doing with this potential offer for him. I think Pittsburgh is making a lot of strong decisions. It's kind of under the radar. There's not a lot of really, jumping out in terms of big names driving the headlines at ESPN or Fox Sports or anything like that. But that's not what the Steelers are ever going to be about. That's the reality, okay? We like them to be more aggressive sometimes. We'd like them to dominate the headlines. They're much more methodical. They're much more long-term thinking. And this is a good example of the best of both worlds. A change in mindset while also a focus on long-term thinking. And if this can continue this offseason, again, we got to answer the quarterback position. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of different things flying around there. Got to address wide receiver as well. If they can start, though, with the running back, clear the deck, like you kind of alluded to, so they can go all in on those two positions that I think Pittsburgh has to attack, it could be a really great offseason and then hopefully a really strong 2025 campaign for Pittsburgh.